All right, 100 Days, 100 Movies, day 14. This one I'm doing Ocean's 11. Another film that I've been putting off for way too long. Something that I've always kind of wanted to see, but just never got around to it. And I have to say I'm a little disappointed. Okay, the preface, this is going to be a pretty rant-heavy one. I'm not going to give a solid synopsis, my likes, dislikes, favorite scene. I'm not going to do that. I'm kind of just going to rant about why my personal feelings towards this film and why I didn't necessarily like it too much. This is honestly, I'm not going to edit this together all too much. Sorry if you're just tuning in. You don't like this type of style. Basically, I just rant. There's probably just going to be the poster of the thing. I don't really want to sit down and spend 3 hours editing something that I do daily. So it's just going to be raw audio of me ranting. So sorry about that. But yeah, Ocean's 11. I can't help but feel disappointed in this film because the simple fact the director, the writer, whatever, they could just not let their characters lose. What I mean by that is none of the characters really face any problems throughout the film. Like, really sit down and watch this and try picking out a problem that they have that actually has a consequence because of it, or a flaw a character has that actually causes something bad to happen to them by the end of it. It just doesn't happen. And in the same vein, if you've seen this film however long ago, try remembering 3 characters' names. I'm going to try right now. I think there was Rusty, Daniel, and that's all I can remember. Brad Pitt's character, which was Rusty, just because it's Brad Pitt, and Daniel, played by George Clooney, sorry. And I'm pretty bad with names, but still, I could remember 2 of the characters' names just because they were played by actors I like. I think that's kind of a testament to how, not forgettable the film is, but how forgettable the characters in this film are. The film itself is really interesting. The heist they pull is iconic. This led room for tons more heist movies afterwards, but still, if you really get down and you focus on this movie, there's nothing there. It's still a fun movie, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed watching it, but on reflection, it's just nothing there. There's not really any thematic weight. The motivations are really shallow. It's just not a very deep film in the wrong way. Like, it's a fun film, but there's just no substance to it, and that kind of takes away from it. I'm going to get into it, but Sinners, the movie I watched today, which I'm going to do a video on tomorrow, I'm going to put a lot more time into that video because I really like that movie. It knew how to make a fun movie with deep characters and rememberable characters, and this movie just did not hit it. Ocean's 11 just did not have rememberable or fun characters because they never lose. None of them really have flaws. I've always said the best characters that you'll ever see have more flaws than they have pros. They have more flaws than they have strengths because their strengths make up for their flaws. And that's always just an interesting thing that you can't get over. I'll use Schindler's List as an example because that's just, I consider it to be one of the best films ever made. Schindler in that movie, he is an incredibly flawed character. He's selfish, he's greedy, he flips on a dime, and he doesn't care about human life, but he overcomes that and he grows into a better person. So his character and his character arc is super memorable, which makes the film very memorable and adds so much depth to the film. This movie doesn't have that. I know comparing this movie to Schindler's List, comparing Ocean's 11 to Schindler's List is like trying to compare like Picasso to some street vendor, but still, it's still something that could just have been improved upon if they gave some of the characters flaws or things that actually cause a problem. Like, for instance, the main character Daniel, his obsession with his wife and his love for his past life, and kind of how he lost that. They could have done that by making his pursuit of his wife, when he actually chooses that over the team and over the heist, they should have had that actually bear consequences, like the other people got arrested or someone died because of his actions. But no, they don't do that. He chooses his wife over the team and nothing occurs from it. And honestly, they try playing it off like that was part of the plan. I think that's like really wacky. Not even wacky. I think that's just really stupid. And a lot of stuff like that happens where the only time where there's a sign that something goes wrong, it ended up just being part of the plan. Like the whole thing where they drive the buses out. It's like, oh, you're going to walk our money to the van. And they follow the van and it blows up. It's like, oh, actually, they never did that to begin with. They were posed as the SWAT thing. Sure, that was really cool. But again, there's no consequences. There's no flaws. It would have been fine if they did that. But somewhere else down the line, they needed to give the characters flaws. Everything just kind of goes to plan. None of the characters really mess up or do anything bad. And if they do mess up or do anything bad, it's something out of their control. It's not something as a result of their flaw, but something just kind of just a random weakness or event. So yeah, I don't think this is a bad movie by all means. I think the heist was great. I love how cool it was. I love the twist with it. I think that's really fun. But just on a micro level, this film wasn't interesting. There was really no substance to it. The whole point of this movie was to tell the story of this heist. And they got that done. But does that make the actual movie itself good? Not necessarily. It makes the idea of Ocean's 11 cool, but it doesn't make the actual film that cool because none of the characters really mean anything. You can have a movie that's cool and has cool concepts and give it good characters that makes it, like, it brings it from that, like, lower grade to a high grade movie. I feel like this just doesn't do it. For how well received this is and for how popular it is, I feel like it's not that great when it comes to character writing and comes to storytelling. It is all focused on the big heist and the big twist and the big switch up and the cool, clever things they do. But you can't think of a single character's motivations because they don't give you any. Like the drivers, like the guy who could like control, like he like turned it into a robot, turned the van into a robot. Why was he doing this? Why did he do the heist? They don't tell you. The big cast gets rid of that personality and gets rid of that personalness that makes films good. Because at the end of the day, you're watching human nature unfold, and you want to see these characters do something that maybe you would do, or maybe you would think, or things that you wouldn't do or wouldn't think, and see them face consequences for it. That's why you watch a movie. So when you lose that personal connection, when you lose that motivation, all that's left is kind of this hollow husk of a film that's more focused on the idea of it than the actual film itself. So that's overall just kind of my problem with this movie. It's not necessarily it's a bad film, but it's just kind of a shallow, hollow movie. And again, there's plenty like this. It's kind of a run-of-the-mill blockbuster, but even run-of-the-mill blockbusters like Infinity War, Tony Stark is still he's a really good character, a really deep character. That's what makes him such a fun thing to see on screen. That's what makes Endgame so great in that regard. I overall don't like Endgame too much. I'd give it like a solid 6, but Tony Stark in that film is like an 8, 9 out of 10 character. He brings the film up from like a 4 or 5 to a 6 because of his presence. This movie doesn't have anyone like that. This movie doesn't really have anyone that memorable or that interesting to kind of elevate it. You could say it for Daniel, but again, he's just kind of this run-of-the-mill conman. There's nothing really special about him. So yeah, that's Ocean's 11. I overall thought it was a good. I don't think this is a bad movie by all means. I wouldn't discourage people from seeing this, but I definitely have a lot of personal taste in this. There's kind of a little bit of bias, but overall, I feel like this is something that a lot of people would agree with. If you watch the movie, this is probably your main dislike, is that none of the characters really had that much style or like obvious motivation to them. And you don't have to have a character with obvious motivation, don't get me wrong, but at least have a character with any motivation outside of just money. So yeah, I know this might seem like a little snobby maybe, or a little like, oh, the characters weren't complex enough, but that's just my general take on this. For how popular this movie was, I expected a little more. I didn't kind of expect it to be this shallow. I thought it was going to be a little bit more something to it. But all the characters are just really simple and they don't really do anything. There's really no character arcs. Like, I don't think any of these characters learn anything by the end or change in any way. They're just kind of vessels for the big heist that they're pulling. Which, again, does that make it bad? No. But does it make it good? No. So yeah, that's why I thought Ocean's 11 was missing. It had the good concept, but did not have the backbone to really support it. It's like a bodiless head. You can't really do that. And again, I'm not saying I hated this film, but I think it was definitely missing a lot that could have brought this to a new level. So yeah, Ocean's 11, I'm going to give it a solid 7. Yeah, so a 7 out of 10 in comparison to its tomato meter and popcorn meter, as an 83 on tomato meter and an 80 on popcorn meter. Which, I mean, I'm pretty off of that. If 80 is the general take, I don't give it an 8. I think it's not good enough to be an 8. I think it's so focused on the concept of it that it loses what really makes a movie special. I think it's shallow. I think it's pretty hollow. But I do think it was fun. And at the end of the day, that's kind of all that matters. But you can still have a fun movie and a good movie at the same time. So yeah, that's Ocean's 11. Sorry for this one being very ranty. But I just had very, I don't know. I had a strong reaction to it because I liked where it was going, but it's just the entire time I was like, come on, give someone something. Don't just make this a montage of a movie, because that's honestly what it felt like. It felt like the movie was one big montage, and I thought that was, I didn't like it that much. So yeah, that's Ocean's 11. Turn your brain off, watch it, whatever. Sorry for the take being a little bit mean, but yeah. At the end of the day, this wasn't a bad film, but I wouldn't necessarily watch it again. But I think it still is deserving of a 7 because it's fun. So yeah, that's Ocean's 11. Goodbye, Sinners tomorrow. I'm gonna put a little bit more time into that one. All right, bye.